Game 3 of 4 of the wildcard weekend here in Season 24. All 5 of the teams in the South Division have made the playoffs, which means we have a South Division rivalry on wildcard weekend, if you can believe it. A matchup being played for its 14th time, a matchup in which the home team, the Houston Headhunters, have not won in 3 calendar years. Fort Worth have had their number in this matchup, but must take them on the road to keep a playoff dream going here. This should be an absolute cracker. Pleasure to have your company here this evening in the first of 2 games here on a Sunday afternoon block. Alongside me in co-commentary for Game 3 here is DJ Kilgannon. DJ, give me a couple of keys to what should be a cracking fixture.
A pleasure to be here, Jacob, for my first SFL playoff action. And, you know, a few key things I think we're going to look at is everybody knows Houston likes to run the football. Fort Worth, pretty much average when it comes to their run defense. They're right at that average rush yards allowed per game. And we have a Fort Worth offense who really often doesn't get their hands dirty. They're very good at keeping the rock on their side of the field. Not too many turnovers. They have the least amount of any team in the league. And I think Houston is going to have to try and get a few of those today if they want to win.
Kickoff not returned by Cade Stevens, and it's not an unfamiliar sight for head coach Luis Gonzalez, but it is for his quarterback Eric Price. Price has played 8 seasons in the SFL, and this is his playoff debut. Spent multiple seasons with Queen City and furthermore Denver, and has now seen wildcard football for the first time in his lengthy career. He'll start through the air, going to the right-hand side. It's picked off. Disastrous start for the QB. And Houston's taken the football back on the very first play. Kai Cash gets it inside the 25.
I mean, I just talked about how little this team turns the ball over when it comes to their offense. They've turned the ball over the least amount of times out of anyone in the league. And, talking about how Houston is going to need to get a turnover to succeed. What a way to start the game. You come out of the block 7 seconds off the board and you're already pushing the other way, just about in the red zone, and your offense is just now touching the field.
John Lakeman finds himself on the field a little faster than he anticipated when they deferred the kickoff. 1 play and Houston's offense is on the field already. Lakeman will drop back, blocking around the edge, throws it in between a pair of defenders, and he's found a target. Straight away, Mike St. Green, the #1 target on this offense, gets involved early.
Yeah, has been targeted. Him and Greg Corky have been targeted just amount of the same through this regular season, but Mike St. Green having the bulk of the yards, top 13 when it comes to the entire league. We know this team for liking to run the ball, but they are certainly no slouch when it comes to the passing game.
Another throw from Lakeman. This time goes to the flats, got past one there. Was the back, Josh Slack. Finished up by Vincent after a game of perhaps 1. It's John Lakeman's 2nd playoff appearance. Played in 1 campaign with Charleston where he got a win over the Seattle Nemesis, and that berth ended in disastrous fashion against Fort Worth, oddly enough. If you can cast your minds back to the dramatic 2 QB injury game. Lakeman's going to throw again. End zone. Caught. Touchdown. Houston's got first points. Daisy Peace.
Yeah, I mean, bouncing quickly on offense. Whenever you see your defense on the other side get such a big play as they did, you got to have some energy and some momentum going on the offensive side. It only takes 3 plays and 3 passes for John Lakeman and this Houston offense to find the end zone on that nice out route.
Hard to argue with that start. Turnover extended the points. Houston's got the lead inside a minute. And Fort Worth are going to go back out there again and shake that off because it was just basically the first play of the game. And an interception taken away by Kai Cash. Allows the Headhunters to capitalize with a passing touchdown to Daisy Peace. She too in her 3rd season here, so it's a 2nd playoff appearance for Peace. Houston's been fairly consistent in the 4K23 era. Both of these teams have had 6 straight seasons with at least 6 wins. Fort Worth 7 wins or better. I go back to it here on offense. Bacon on the outside is going to get 3 there. Is Jet 0. And this 2-back system projects to be the way that Fort Worth are going to win this game if they are to.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, both of these teams are really good at running the ball. We see Josh Slapp get the majority of the carries on the other side, but like you said, a really nice dual attack on the ground for Fort Worth.
And up the middle. That time it goes to Bacon, and it's not much on offer there again. This Houston defense is very much turned up here early. Blake Prine making that tackle, and they'll have to go for it here for 3rd and 6. And you imagine this will be the second pass attempt for Eric Price on the drive. Aaron Alexander is the lone back at the fullback spot, and they'll have 3 wide plus a tight end. Drop back by Price. No pressure on him. This time gets it over top, breaks a tackle. Henry McGee, sayonara, inside the 10, and McGee's going to lock us up.
Oh my goodness. What an electric way to bounce back for Eric Price. You know, when the defense knows you're passing the ball, why not go for the big shot? They take the lid off of the jar of Houston's defense. They fire it on a beautiful lobbed pass over the top, and Henry McGee left him in the dust on that route. One of the fastest in the league. Almost got caught there, but he's just too quick in that open field.
Someone asked the question in pre-game if we were going to get more than 20 points in this game. Do we have an answer to that question early on?
You know, I'd make a bet that we will, Jacob.
It seems like whatever the over-under is, it's already at threat. We've had 14 points in just over 2 minutes. Fort Worth had the turnover on the opening drive. That was very similar, in fact, to the play that they tried to connect with McGee on the outside. That time, Price did get it over the top, and he took it all the way. And the Toros walk away with a 76-yard touchdown to number 14. And now Houston gets the football back.
Yeah, and you know, you look at a play like that, and that isn't even Henry McGee's longest touchdown of the season, Jacob. His longest being 79, which is top 3 in the entire league. This guy just known as a big play threat. I mean, he's been doing it all season long, his whole career.
That breakaway speed that he's known for is deadly in the right situation, and it's exactly what happened there. Houston will get back to it. They converted on the turnover last drive out. Drop back by Lakeman. He's got plenty of time. Throws it. They're going back and forth, these quarterbacks. And he's connected with a receiver in the middle of the field, C.J. Parrish.
Yes, C.J. Parrish, the 3rd target when it comes to the depth chart of the wide receivers, and he is a very, very solid target. That's 627 yards coming into this game on 38 receptions. They do a really nice job of being able to spread the love when it comes to this receiving core of Houston.
Both teams more than willing to swing the rock here early in the upping. Handoff faked. Lakeman throws again. That's caught by Parrish back-to-back. For CJ, he gets 8 on that occasion. Yeah,
and, you know, for an offense that we've seen run the ball so steadily all season long, you know, maybe a shock to some, and maybe, you know, it's a shock to me as well how much we're seeing them pass the ball in the start of this one, but clearly it's working.
Toss play outside. That's the first run of the game for Houston, and it results in a first down. Josh Slapp with his 2nd touch. The first was a reception. That one a first down on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, running it in those short down scenarios is almost a guarantee when it comes to a guy like Josh Slapp. Runs the ball so angrily every time he touches it.
Drop back by Lakeman. Again, the blocking is pristine. Mike St. Green. What a needle thread from John Lakeman.
Yeah, looking like an artist out there, throwing that one. Could have took a picture of it, hung it up in a museum, and it would have sold for millions. Look at that throw. The safety's trying to pinch on him. And, you know, he's the type of receiver that is going to catch those every single time, despite the contact coming his way. And my goodness, we are seeing a lethal passing attack for the Houston Headhunters right now.
Both of these offenses are red hot all of a sudden. Not 4 minutes in. Lakeman drops back again, throws it in the middle. That time there's too much coverage around the intended target. First look at Greg Corky there, and that one's incomplete, batted away by the Fort Worth secondary.
And the first incompletion on the game for Houston after 6 straight completions and 76 total yards already gained. That one, not a bad pass, just really nice defensive play, able to hit him from behind, pop it out.
Drop back again by Lakeman, blocking around the edges. Excellent again. This Houston offensive line is really going at a Daisy Peace on the double.
My goodness, Daisy Peace, 2 receptions, Jacob, and 2 touchdowns. Has been a machine this game and all season long. What a reliable target when it comes to close to the end zone plays. And I mean, they're 25 yards out. They weren't even that close to the end zone. But when you have a target that's so reliable, like Daisy Peace, you can throw them up, have faith, and she's going to come down with them.
Peace has 2. And Houston have taken the lead right back. Sonny J's extra point is through the uprights. 4 minutes of play gone. We've had 3 scores.
Yeah, I mean, my goodness. I mean, you start off with the quick turnover by Houston. Then you see him go all-out pass. You know, then Fort Worth bounces back with a beautiful over-the-top throw. And then the other way, just more electrifying action. And there you go, Jacob. That's that 20 mark already split for you.
It didn't take long, did it? We should have known, there being 2 South teams, that this was going to be fiery. Cade Stevens on the return. And he nearly broke that off, but plenty of coverage around. Fort Worth will get an opportunity to respond here. So it's been about as fiery a start as you could possibly have wanted here.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that Damon Simeon in the chat asking why they weren't running the ball. I think Fort Worth wish they would run it.
Yeah, I mean,
they're throwing
absolutely.
the ball at the moment.
I mean, they've been throwing it with precision. It's been perfect, really.
Fort Worth did run it on their opening drive twice before that 76-yard strike. That's a run for Jay-Z Bacon. 4. That's the best run of the afternoon so far of, what, 3 attempts. It hasn't exactly been a sample size.
Yeah.
And another running set here. Pressure shown on either edge. Hand off to the right-hand side. That's 0. He's met with pretty forceful contact there by Chris Britton, and it'll be short of the first down marker, but a 3rd and 2 means they're not going to be as aggressive here on 3rd down. Fort Worth happy to slow the momentum of the game down just a touch.
Yeah, with those runs, you know, they're trying to take a slower approach.
And no, Chris Britton's got him again. Dropped in the backfield, had some support there by Guy Incognito. And Fort Worth can't convert the 3rd down.
Yeah, and you know, after such a pass-heavy game to start, Jacob, we finally see a drive that is more run than pass. That one being all run, and it being 3 straight plays, 3 unsuccessful plays that lead to a Fort Worth punt. You know, maybe that drive will, you know, maybe steer them back to the passing game, trying to get their run game involved, or maybe just try and mix it up. You know, on the drive, they went 3 straight runs. It's either been all pass or all run. Maybe throw a pass into that drive and you see a little bit more success. But, you know, you live and you learn. Now Houston's going to have the ball back, have a chance to make it a 2-possession game now.
Can't run on this play here, Houston. They'll be throwing again. Lakeman, short route. That's caught by Parrish. He steps away from Dexter Jackson. What a move. CJ Parrish is starting to heat up.
Yeah, Fort Worth was in a nickel look against that defense. With how many receivers they had on the field, someone eventually was going to find some open space, and that was CJ Parrish, who ran a little flat route, and the corner just gave enough cushion for John Lakeman to feel confident enough to feed it to him on the outside, let him cook, and he certainly did. Gets a 1st down and then some.
This time Slappy's in the backfield. He can 3 wide plus Daisy Peace, and they run for Josh Slapp. Breaks 1 tackle, eventually downed after 7 yards. And we'll get to the rest of this Houston offense via intro. John Lakeman under center has been red hot. The Hall of Famer DR Sim hasn't had a touch yet, but Josh Slapp has. That's the two running backs, Torrenio Rivera and JW Doyle, the two fullbacks. CJ Parrish, Mike St. Green, and Greg Corky, the receivers. Daisy Peace, the lone tight end. We'll call out the offensive line in just a second. It's been excellent so far. That's the first carry for DR Sim, who's got plenty of room and nearly ripped that one off completely. DJ, back-to-back, really impressive runs from this Houston offense.
Yeah, now Houston trying to do what Fort Worth just tried to do on their previous drive and flip from that pass and try and rely on the run a little bit more. And their scheme that they're doing is certainly working out a lot better than the latter. And 2 runs resulting in some first downs already past midfield.
Drop back again from Lakeman in the bunch. Got it over the top. That's Greg Corky, first catch of the game. And this Houston offense is looking unstoppable at the moment.
Yeah, Greg Corky with that catch. Now every single receiver and tight end, being Daisy Peace, has a catch now for this Houston receiving core, doing a really nice job of spreading the rock around, spreading around the love. Down here in H-Town, 10 passes, with 9 completions, 158 QBR right now, Jacob.
And off up the middle, and Slapp breaks a tackle. Got caught there, though, by a pair of Fort Worth defenders. The offensive line, Scott Calvin, Grit Gorski, Sarah Bergens, Carney Cook, Barry Simeon, and Delangelo De Jesus has been pretty much spotless in this contest thus far. But he called upon here for another rush. This time from DR Sim. Got a pass one. Can he get past the second? Got a first down. Boy, Houston's rushing attack just as good as the pass.
Yeah, certainly. And Fort Worth was expecting it. They ran a 4-3. They tried to pack the box a little bit more and had their defensive backs come down towards the line of scrimmage. But Houston's offensive line just blocked so well that it didn't even matter what Fort Worth predicted. They still ran it and still got a first down.
So it's played a slap ball, Delaney Nash. Says enough of this, came up and absolutely whacked him.
Yeah, former MVP for the Fort Worth Toros, Delaney Nash, is a monster. He's one of the best safeties in the league when it comes to helping in the run, and we see that hit there and puts it on full display as to why.
Drop back again by Lakeman. Got blocking, throws in zone and broken up. Really good piece of coverage there by Adam Leach.
Yeah, Adam Leach able to get in there and make a nice play. Had 5 pass deflections and 6 interceptions, which was able to put him top 6 in the league for interceptions. He is really good when it comes to helping in the pass.
They'll go 4 wide. They've had 2 trips here and they've both times come away with touchdowns. Lakeman drops back again, throws outside. That's caught. Mike St. Green gets the first down.
You know, a lot of the times in this league, Jacob, we see teams be really reliant on the middle of the field when it comes to their pass attack. Right now, Houston doing such a good job of passing to the outside of the hash marks. We saw them outside most receiver run a post route to drive the corner away and follow him upfield, which left just an open pocket of green for the receiver to cook.
Lakeman out of the gun, drops back, had protection. Oh, fits it into a window. My goodness. And Greg Corky has the 3rd of the opening quarter for Houston.
I mean, John Lakeman just putting on a show right now, Jacob, splitting the Fort Worth defenders with that pass, just trusting his receiver to make a play out there in the end zone, and he does. Greg Corky gets a touchdown on his 2nd catch, and my goodness, Jacob, it's looking like a completely different Houston team right now with how they're passing the ball. And by different, I don't mean bad. They're looking top-notch right now. They're looking, dare I say, championship contender.
I mean, it's not for the fact that, I mean, again, we highlighted in pre-game how Fort Worth have really had this matchup by the horns, if you will, over the course of the last few seasons. They won it 41-15 earlier this season. Kate Stevens is going to get that one up to the 25. So Fort Worth have got to respond now on offense with the tempo that Houston are maintaining. Quarterback Eric Price leads this team out with backs Jet Zero and Jay-Z Bacon. Aaron Alexander's the fullback. The receivers Henry McGee, Cade Stevens, and Stephen Hacker is the only one who haven't highlighted yet. Out of those three, Robert Garrett Jr. and James Jennings, the two tight ends, Duke LaRue, Emilio Panda, Jalil LaRue, and Frank Burks make up their offensive line. It was very run heavy that last drive. 3 runs, Houston stopped them all. I'll go to the ground again. Plenty of pressure. Chris Britton is all over this offense. He's got to tackle for loss again.
Yeah, you said it best there, Jacob. He is just all over this running for Fort Worth right now. It seems like every time a tackle is made right at the line on those previous run attempts, we looked up and we saw number 50 getting up off the ball carrier.
Back by Price. He's got no time at all. By Eric. Stacked in the backfield. 2 straight lost plays. Mac Dre gets in there and finishes that one off.
Yeah, and I mean, there was 2. We had the edge rusher who was about to make contact, and then, you know, you see the defensive tackle, Anthony Stover, break through the middle of that line, and if edge rusher didn't get to him, he said, I'm going to do it myself, busted through that that right guard it would have been, and just completely hammered down the quarterback, and now you got to imagine we're going to see a pass.
Puts them under some pressure here on 3rd down and long. Price has got to heave it, and it's incomplete, broken up. Houston had plenty of coverage around there. Kai Cash bats that one away. He had the interception at the start of the game, and Fort Worth are going to have to punt this one back again.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, it's hard to not make a stop on defense when you're expecting the pass like that. And, you know, we saw Fort Worth in a situation like that previously when they, you know, had that huge bomb to Henry McGee over the top. I thought we might see something like that again. But Houston certainly was not going to let that happen 2 times in 1 quarter. They're able to shut them down. And we're going into the 2nd quarter, Jacob, with a 14-point Houston lead, and they have the ball.
28 points in the first. Let's see where the tempo stays. Here as we continue. Aerial coverage of wildcard football provided to you by Dags Drone Works. Aerial photography and videography services for real estate, events, marketing, and more. Learn more at dagsdroneworks.com. Houston are loving life at the moment here. Toss play outside to Josh Slapp. They get plenty of attention around him again. Delaney Nash in company with Aiden Davis. Make sure that one doesn't go very far. So they've got it really locked down now for West defense. They've been massacred in that opening quarter.
Yeah. Really have not. You know, both teams haven't been able to run too well, especially Fort Worth. Houston has had a few where they're able to bounce it to the outside and get some success.
Lakeman, gone! Back-to-back plays for Fort Worth defense, and that's the way you come out of the quarter. Jerry D. Gond gets into the backfield there, and it's an opportunity. It's actually Luther Gond there on that tackle, and that's the way to start things here. You give Luis Gonzalez the opportunity at the quarter break to make some adjustments, and it's a better response out of Fort Worth, and Houston have to throw their way out of a 3rd down and long. Drop back again by Lakeman. Throws across the back. He's found it in a window. Daisy Peace is having the best game of her life.
Are you kidding me, Jacob? What a throw. I mean, that one was over the head. I hope we get a better look at it, you know, from maybe another angle, and we will. Let's see it from this side. Oh, my goodness. I mean, you have the cornerback draped on your back like a cape. You're trying to catch that one way out in front of you while the other safety is about to smack into your head. And the concentration to pull that one in, 3 catches, 61 yards, and 2 touchdowns. I mean, yeah, game of her life, certainly.
Last pass attempts, 10 pass attempts from Lakeman. Unbelievable. 8 of 10, 2 of them were touchdowns. He's been unplayable. Josh Slapp, 3-yard gain.
And, you know, that sack really, you know, I thought it might be a kink in the armor for Houston. And maybe we would see some maybe fearful eyes from Lakeman, but I mean, the play directly after, we see a dart for the first down.
DRCM, not much on offer there. Fort Worth have certainly responded to the ground game here in this second quarter, and they've got another opportunity to get off the field here on third down, but they've conceded every time they've gotten into this situation. Lakeman's got 3 wide plus Peace on the left-hand side. He'll drop back. Has plenty of time. Still got time. Throws deep. Oh. It's incomplete. Nearly fell to the back there for Delaney Nash. It was CJ Parrish's target there, but he had coverage all over him there with Ben Stone. And wonder if they're just on the precipice of Sonny J field goal range. They are. 46-yard attempt here for number 14.
Has made a 52-yarder this season already. And that one down the gut.
So makes that one look like easy work, and that it is. And Houston continue to add to their lead.
And Sonny J continuing, and knock on wood, continuing what is a perfect field goal campaign so far. 29 for 29. 52 being the longest, makes it second best in the league up to this point.
Kickoff sent away will be returned from a yard inside the end zone. Fort Worth.
Oh.
And Kate Stevens breaks it. Gets past another. Stevens up past halfway. Kate Stevens to the 40. Bye-bye. They've got another breakaway play of the game. Canada here through Kate Stevens. And Fort Worth have got the response they so desperately needed. That's our breakaway play of the game, brought to you by Breaks GPT, sports memorabilia collectors, breakers, and more. You never know whose autographed helmet or jersey you might hit. Check them out at breaksgpt.com.
Cade Stevens says, you're going to mess with the bull, Houston? You're going to get the horns. Breaks a few tackles, and Cade Stevens, after some very angry running after Houston increases their lead with a field goal, gives himself enough separation to dust everyone down the sideline. And that is just what you need if you're Fort Worth. You have to bounce back quickly, and my goodness, did they. Both of their touchdowns being huge chunk plays.
First one was 76, that one 102 effectively. He returned that one from just inside of the end zone, and well, I keep things interesting here.
Yeah, and Stevens' first kick return touchdown of the year. And a great one, a great time to get it done. His second ever.
Not a bad time to do it. It's usually McGee that gets that responsibility, but it's Stevens tonight.
As he broke that first tackle, Jacob, I promise you, I was thinking, man, with that speed, maybe Henry McGee should be out there. And now I know why I'm not on the sideline.
Houston with an opportunity to respond. Slap straight up the gut. Got caught up there with Dexter Jackson after a 5-yard gain.
And it seems like they're slowly transitioning back into the power running that we've seen so much from Houston, and starting to sprinkle in the pass, which I think is great. I think what's going to help your passing attack get even better is by, keeping them on their toes and keeping them honest and running the ball.
And Sam is gone. Delaney Nash dumps him behind the line of scrimmage. He's made a couple of big plays here, and it could be an opportunity for Fort Worth to get their defense off the field, but third down, not defense, has been their kryptonite so far this evening.
And you see it there, Delaney Nash already having 7 tackles. I mean, we mentioned it earlier how lethal he is when it comes to stopping the run.
Lakeman, it's incomplete. Oh, at the back there, Ben Stone nearly had a shot at that. And it falls away harmlessly, and, well, that's the response. All of a sudden, the momentum starts to shift a little, and with it was full throttle Houston for maybe 15 minutes of scrimmage, and then that kick return just sort of threatened it. Yeah. And then a quick 3 and out by Fort Worth's defense, and it's going to keep things interesting here. Jay's going to punt this one away. They wouldn't want to give back-to-back special teams touchdowns up.
They would not.
They definitely won't. That's good punt coverage there. Kane Stevens, nowhere to go.
What a stat.
And it's good starting field position there. Yeah, unbelievable. I mean, that's ridiculous.
That is absolutely bonkers. Having 2 touchdowns and 0 first downs gained. I can hardly wrap my head around that.
Well, yeah, technically not, because the one touchdown drive they had that was on offense, that was a 3rd down bomb.
Yep.
As Jay-Z Bacon loses a yard there on that carry. Houston have really crunched in on this run game. Jason Peace, a defensive player of the season candidate, making his statement here.
Yeah, I mean, top 2 in interceptions as a linebacker. I mean, it has been phenomenal.
Ridiculous.
And you see the run defense also showing up there.
Oh, and he's overthrown Stevens there. That was pretty much a guaranteed 1st down if he caught it. And Price didn't hit him, and Fort Worth at risk of losing this drive.
Yeah, and maybe just led him a little bit too far. You know, maybe expecting the cut a little sooner or a little, a little quicker. Maybe just past the hands of Stevens. And like I said, would have been a 1st.
Rice rollout has time in the middle. Guess who's there? Jason Peace breaks that one up. Was looking for Robert Garrett Jr. And Fort Worth just as quickly as they got their own 3, and now they've given one up.
Yeah, and the 1st down plague continues for Fort Worth. And, they have to punt it away again. And, with a solid return, they could be around the 30. Oh, and a slow punt kind of bobbled it there. Fair catch, number 25. And, for Houston, they don't need everything. You still have a 2-possession lead, but, one thing that Houston isn't doing much of that we've seen them do all season long is dominate the time of possession battle, Jacob. They are 1st in the league by a good margin when it comes to winning the time of possession. With how much they've been passing the ball, that really hasn't come into fruition.
Lakeman's going to motion Corky across. Drops back. Has pressure in his face. He nearly threw it right into the midst of Adam Leach, who was right there. In fact, it may be Davis that was in the area. And that bobble pass falls to the ground. So still no 1st down for Fort Worth's offense in 15 minutes of play. And Houston now an opportunity to continue to add to their lead. Drop back again by Lakeman. He swarmed once more. Got it in there. Another great throw from Lakeman. And CJ Parrish has his 4th.
Yeah, and I mean, why pass at all? Or why run at all, when you're passing like this? I mean, you look back historically on this Houston team, they average 226 yards per game through the air, which is, just above league average, puts you right outside the top 10. When you look at their rush yards per game, 157 per game, Jacob. That is 50 above the league average. Right now, they're flipping that rhetoric on their head. Maybe they expected Fort Worth to come out thinking run all game long, and maybe they did, and maybe that's why they're passing the ball so efficiently.
Josh Slutt couldn't get much there. He got caught behind DeJesus there at center and eventually got 3. Dexter Jackson couldn't get him behind the line of scrimmage for all his good effort. 2nd down and 7 after that 3-yard rush. Sims in the backfield now. They send pressure. Sim got away from 1. Here goes DR, but he's shut down after the first down gain there by Adam Leach.
Love the play call there. We see Fort Worth pack every member of their defense, it seemed, in the middle and the weak side of that formation, expecting maybe a run up the middle, and Houston bounces it to the outside. We see a broken tackle from DR Sim and some really good blocks, to help seal that edge. That gives them just enough room out to that outside to be able to get the 1st down. Those are the type of runs we want to continue seeing.
Not much on offer there for Josh Slapp. Shut down by Vincent after a gain of 2. So Houston happy to run the ball a little bit here, and with reason as well.
Yep.
Got a bit of a cushion, and it's been effective thus far. Fort Worth now in the nickel. This time Lakeman will throw. Got it to St. Green in the middle. They can do no wrong through the air today.
Jacob, I absolutely love that IQ from Lakeman. if you take a look back at that one, you could see the two linebackers in the middle of that nickel formation drop to each side of the defensive line. Lakeman sees that. He's like, okay, those are some big old linebackers. They're not going to be quick enough to be able to get back and cover Mike Shea Green in the middle of the field. So what does he do? He immediately fires it to the middle of the field, and it connects just as he knew it would.
Lakeman deep, it's incomplete. Nearly came up with a huge play again to Daisy Peace, but that one doesn't quite reach its target.
Yeah, just didn't have the arm there, and trailing by a few Toros. If that one was lofted a little bit more, maybe could have been something, but just a risky throw. And like we said earlier, you don't need everything. You're leading by 2 possessions. Just try and chew that clock out. Try and score late. Try to be the last one with the ball in this half. You're already going to get the ball come halftime.
Lakeman, another deep shot. Tried to get it over the top to Corky. It's batted away by Aiden Davis.
And a nice defensive play there, assuredly saving a touchdown for what would have been another deep shot for John Lakeman. I mean, they're really just going for it all right now. They said, forget what we think. We just want points. We don't want to worry about chewing the clock out. And now 5 wide again. We're going to see another big shot, I imagine.
They've just trying to hang on here. Drop back again into tight coverage. Oh, Delaney Nash. That was right in front of him, and he just watched it drop. Zion Waddles with a really good play, and you feel it probably should have resulted in a turnover.
Yeah, there was 4 Toros in the area, and now, I think this is sort of worst case scenario, Jacob, if you're Houston, is punting in this situation. Just outside of field goal range. You can't take advantage of another 3 and out for Fort Worth, and you got to punt it late in the half. You give Fort Worth 3 minutes. I mean, despite their bad field position they're going to have just inside the 10. I mean, we saw the one play touchdown earlier from Henry McGee that just completely took the top off. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few more shots like that once they get a little bit further from their end zone.
Got to get out of trouble first. That was a good punt by Sonny J to spot them inside the 10. And off to the outside, nothing on offer. Dumped at the line of scrimmage by Chris Britton. Has had a tremendous half.
Yeah, CB3, another big play, another tackle at the line of scrimmage. It feels like he should have half a dozen tackles for loss already, Jacob, but it seems they all get spotted right back down at the line of scrimmage.
Toss play to the outside. That's going to be a carry for Bacon, and that'll take Fort Worth into positive yardage for the quarter. So that was -1 prior to that play. A 5-yard carry gets them above that threshold.
Yeah, I mean, good thing they're in the positive for total yards. I mean, my goodness, Jacob. Houston's defense just, came to play one of the best all season long, and they're keeping that same energy come playoff time. That's when you need it the most.
Price has got to get them out of trouble, and he's found a target, Stephen Hacker. His first catch of the game, and an important time as well.
Yeah, I was waiting for us to get to call his name. Had been rather quiet in this one. That's the first catch we've seen, besides that Henry McGee catch previously. Only 2 completions on 6 passes right now, and it's the 2-minute warning.
Fort Worth with an opportunity to soften the blow here and get into halftime. Somehow within a single score here, if they're able to get a scoring drive out of this. They've got 2 minutes to do it. 25 yards away from their own goal line. Drop back by Price. Throws in the middle, wide open. Now they're up to the 45. Stephen Hacker has back-to-back.
Yeah, attack in the middle of the field with him again with success. You have the two receivers running downfield, and you keep one going straight and have one run the 10-step post as he finds some room in the middle of the field to Stephen Hacker. He's built a career off that, Jacob, and maybe some urgency is what we need to see from Eric Price to be able to get this passing offense going.
They haven't stopped the clock here, Fort Worth. Go to the ground again. Straight up the middle. Nothing on offer there for Jet Zero. Stopped right at the line of scrimmage there. And you feel they've got to stick to the air now.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Zach Turner bottled that one up completely. And, you know, we saw the good passes, and then the run just gets snuffed out.
Oh no, that one deflected away. That was Stover there who got a hand up on that one.
The big defensive tackle showing the vert out there, getting involved, batting that one down. 6'6", 335 pounds, able to get up that high.
The second pass deflection of the season for Stover. Throw on second. Oh my goodness, what a throw from Price.
There we go.
And now Eric is starting to heat up, akin to his counterpart on the Houston side of things, and that will get them a first down. They're not in field goal range yet. Allows them to throw a timeout out there and stop the clock and keep going. They've got to throw.
Yeah,
that's the recipe now. Pressure shown on the short side. That backed away. Price throws up and just out of the hands there of Bird. He nearly had it.
Oh, and my goodness, the safety.
Blake Prine.
Yeah, Blake Prine almost made a monstrous play. Tried to go back to the middle again, just to no avail.
It would have been disaster. And he have come up with that. Single back off to the right. Throw to the flats. It's caught by Garrett Jr. He broke one tackle, ran straight at Kai Cash, who couldn't do much in that situation, but they're going to say he stopped him shy of the first down marker. So they're in field goal range now. So worst case scenario here is you turn the ball over.
Yeah.
You can walk in half time with a one-score game, provided Rose kicks it, of course. But they want more. Drop back again by Price. Throw to the flats. It's caught. Garrett Jr.'s got back-to-back. And they're going to call their final timeout. Fort Worth willing to take a shot here.
You know, you go into this drive, Jacob, from the 7-yard line with -1 yards of total offense in the second quarter. They finally stop running the ball, and they have now already pushed it inside the 25-yard line. I think that's got to tell you something going into the second half.
Found something on this position. Henry McGee motioned into the slot. Can they find him again? Drop back by Price is going towards Hacker. He's got it inside the 10. They've got plenty of time here. They'll go hurry up. 30 and change. And it will be spiked.
Okay. And, you know, it feels like this is kind of just what we've been waiting for, Jacob. This has not been a familiar Fort Worth offense prior to this drive. They've been really slow, almost sluggish when it comes to their attack. And now, putting full faith in Eric Price after the early interception to bounce back.
Price, wide open, Hacker! Reeled it in. Nice hands. Catch of the game brought to you by Retroid. Put a Retroid handheld in your hands and play the only video game with your player in it. SFL 4K23. Fort Worth are down by 3.
Wow, and you know, finally, they attack over the middle, and a drive of straight passes for Fort Worth results in a touchdown. Carry this momentum into the second half, Fort Worth, if you want a chance at this one. Hacker finds the mark again, 5 for 5 on catches, and it results in a touchdown at the end of the drive.
What a game.
Yeah, wow.
And for as good as Houston have been, I mean, it's been one of the best performances we've ever seen from this team.
Yeah.
They're only up by 3. I can't contextualize how that works. It just
Insane.
It doesn't make sense.
I mean, you had no first downs going into that drive, and now you're down by 3. It's crazy.
And ladies and gentlemen, we have hit the over in a half of football.
Yeah. I remember when we were wondering if we'd hit 20.
Unbelievable. Drop back by Lakeman. Throws outside, and DR Sim cannot get to that one.
Yeah, and, trying to find him out of the backfield. DR Sim, who's been a, Hall of Fame receiver throughout his entire career, now switching to the backfield for this season. Maybe get him involved in the receiving game and see some of that, past self come to fruition.
Sim's a receiver here down the bottom. Drop back by Lakeman. Throws in between Daisy Peace. She's up at halfway.
Oh, we need a timeout.
Houston are happy to cut this one into halftime.
Oh, I don't know about that, Jacob. Maybe they just don't want to risk it. But I think after that completion, putting you almost at the 50, going to be right at around the 49. I feel like you got to take another shot.
Well, they do. Well, there you go, DJ. They had that drawn up the whole way. There you go. That was where the whole 20-point thing came from. Both of the games yesterday were very low scoring. So and we've already kind of hit that threshold. And they're going to run it. What is going on here? Toss play to the outside. Slap beats one, but is dumped behind the line of scrimmage, and that'll take us to halftime. Wow, what a wild game. 24-21 at half. It's the game this matchup deserved. Yep. Houston leads it by 3. Fort Worth just hanging around like a bad scent here on the road in this wild card game. DJ Kilgannon, your keys from that half.
Jacob, leading up to this half, I had everything planned out. I was going to say I had thought about it. And it all completely got tossed out the window with that last drive from Fort Worth. They started passing the ball. They finally started seeing some success with their offense. And I think that last drive right there tells you all that you need to know. If you're Fort Worth, continue passing the ball. You've run the ball 10 times, and it has resulted in 16 yards. Something's not working with your run game. Keep passing. Keep the ball out of the hands of Houston, and I think they might see some success.
Before we get back to this game here at Vive Sports Stadium, let's take a quick halftime break presented by Brakes GPT.
We just pulled a full-size Taylor Swift helmet. Shout out to all our Swifties. Travis Kelce. This is a Giants Lawrence Taylor.
Patrick Mahomes.
Chad Johnson with the Ocho Cinco.
We have a Drew Brees.
Is that an O.J. Simpson jersey?
It's an Aaron Rodgers.
Oh my goodness.
Tom Brady! Tom Brady!
Break into the world of sports memorabilia collecting with Brakes GPT, featuring signed football jerseys, helmets, photos, and more. Brakes GPT offers you the shot at winning autographed and authenticated sports memorabilia at a fraction of the price. Join the community collectors on our Brakes GPT Facebook page and lock in your shot at hitting a humongous headline on the site brakesgpt.com. Houston with opening honours here for the second half. That's DJ Kilgannon. I'm Jacob Clear. Happy to have you in commentary here this evening. It has been a very memorable opening half here at Vive Sports Stadium in Houston, Texas. This has been an instant classic here in the Season 24 wildcard round. John Lakeman had 230 yards and 3 touchdowns in a half of football. They go to the ground to start off with here. Plenty of room for Slap, and he will get 7.
And coming out of the tunnel, running the ball early. They run it right up the gap to their power back, Josh Slap, and just going to let him work. And, a gain of 7 to start. It's nice to see, but you can't rely on that for the entire game. Try and continue mixing it up like we saw in the first half.
Tavius Gordon had to hang on there, otherwise DR was gone. It's a first down for Houston.
Yeah, and, seeing that edge get sealed again, really nice blocks from the receivers on the edge. We see the pulling linemen get out in front and make a nice block. I mean, you know, we could have seen DR Sim drive a Harley through that hole, and he would have been just fine. And, you know, a really nice run, seemed untouched until he got about to that first down mark.
Straight up middle again. Oh, Josh slaps so much room. He gets 8 there on that simple dive up the middle.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm talking about right there. The offensive line just playing such good football to start this half. I mean, you know, it wasn't touched till about the 7. If you can keep that up consistently, it's going to be nightmare fuel for Fort Worth.
Another toss to Sim. Got past Davis and had to hang on there as Gwen Stone, who prevented him from breaking off another. But this ground game has started off red hot.
Yeah, and you start the drive off for 4 rushing plays that have totaled 34 rushing yards, Jacob. I mean, what else can you ask from your running game? Already pushing it past the 50.
They find themselves up over halfway. AZ Peace moved in motion. Lakeman hasn't thrown it yet on this drive. Hasn't had to. This time he will. Protection, excellent. Throws it deep. It's too heavy. Over the back, this offensive line is giving him enough time to really survey this Fort Worth defense, and that's what's contributed really to his ability to pick them apart.
Certainly.
Not to take anything away from Lakeman's performance, but it's been made easier by the performance from this 5 up front. Drop back again by Lakeman. Throws. That's an open receiver. Caught for a 7-yard gain there was Parrish, and I'll go for it here from 3rd and short.
And I like the play call there. Maybe get a little bit of, you know, consistency and, you know, trust back in your quarterback's hand. It had been a while, it feels like, since we saw a completion from this side, and, you know, that one just an easy one.
Lakeman, great deflection. EK Vincent bats that one away, and it'll stop this Houston drive that seemed to be gaining some significant momentum. Worth noting as well, EK Vincent announced in preseason that this season would be his last. He's on the precipice of retirement, so he'll be playing with a bit of extra heart here in this second half. You imagine that's a play that's akin to that.
Yeah.
And Fort Worth are going to get the football back and an opportunity to take the lead for the first time in this game. They're going to be in tough field position again because that's another quality punt from Sonny J.
And E.K. Vincent had 15 seasons in the league, 2 All-Star appearances, just shy of 1,500 tackles for him, 190-plus tackles for loss, 100-plus pass deflections, 25 interceptions. I mean, that's a guy who's just done it all in his career.
Drop back by Price. He was pursued, got it out to the backfield there. Robert Garrett Jr. broke a tackle of Britton, but there was so much pressure there. Mac Dre nearly got home.
You know, I really liked that play call. It seemed like a halfback slip screen to that left side, at least I hope, because so much pressure was in the face of Eric Price that, I mean, he just had to get it away, but you had the lineman out to the side blocking for the back. Just Houston's defense played such good defense, it just didn't really work out.
I'll go to the ground again. Nothing doing there. They are sending all kinds of pressure at this rushing attack, and that one again stopped at the line of scrimmage at Jet 0. Jason Peace with that hit, and they will have to go through the air here on 3rd down.
Yeah, you know, the linebacking core right now is just playing so insanely well for Houston.
What a block. Oh, Garrett Jr.'s ripped it in the middle of the field there. But credit the block there from the left tackle that kept that play alive. Look at that. It was actually Jay-Z Bacon who prevented a sack and allowed that throw to be made. That's huge.
Yeah, and you throw that one past Jason Peace into the hands of your tight end, who makes a brilliant catch and gets speared right as he catches it, still able to hold on for a nice catch, able to save their drive.
hand off up the middle straight away. He made that crucial block and now has to go on the ground there. In fact, that's Zero with that carry. I keep forgetting that Zero seems to be the one that gets the first touch here, and then Bacon will check in after the fact. But they're clearly still keen to keep this on the ground here, Fort Worth. In fact, Price will throw evidence to that, and it's caught, and breaking a tackle. My goodness, Stephen Hacker. How did he get out of that? Oh my goodness me.
I mean, just full determination, you know, and that's something you're going to see when it comes to the veterans in your locker room. Stephen Hacker being one of them. 10 seasons in Fort Worth, 7 All-Star appearances. I mean, you talk about a veteran, I don't think that title fits well to anyone. But Stephen Hacker perfectly.
All right, blocking up front. Jet Zero gets the first down on the ground.
Something we're not seeing too much of is rushing first downs for Fort Worth. You know, we've seen them bounce back well, you know, from their first down deficit that we saw early in the first half. Now finally get one on the ground.
Henry McGee moved across in motion. He hasn't been sighted since that 76-yard touchdown. Drop back by Price. Got McGee in the middle of the field, right on cue. And he gets about 16, 17 on the air. And Fort Worth are now inside Houston territory.
Yeah, and ask and you shall receive, Eric Price says, connecting with Henry McGee. And only 2 catches for him, but just shy of 100 yards now. And you look at Stephen Hacker, you know, his receiving duo has 6 catches for 78.
The passing stat column starting to even out a little bit for as good as John Lakeman's been. Oh, by Chris Britton. He is having a career night.
And that, I don't know about you, Jacob, seemed like a generous spot to me, you know, to give him only a loss of 1 on that one. Chris Britton just bottled that one up completely, blew it up, and then some. I mean, tackled him, it seemed like 5 or 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage, I guess, just giving Zero that forward progress.
Short throw, that's caught by McGee. Tackle made by Kai Cash. And I mean, he in between Chris Britton and Jason Peace, they've combined for 15 tackles. 4 of them have been for a loss.
Yeah.
They've been giving this Fort Worth rushing attack absolute nightmares here today. Drop back, throw in between the numbers, caught. Oh, Cade Stevens, that was elusive. Got away from Jason Peace, and Fort Worth have another first down.
It was, and now all receivers after that one having a catch for Fort Worth. And again, they're attacking over the middle of the field. And you see Robert Garrett coming from that left side. You know, in that situation, you just give the middle linebacker an option of who to sway over to cover when you have 2 in routes coming your way. He picked wrong in that scenario, and Eric Price took advantage of it.
And off to the outside, that'll be a 4-yard pickup on the ground for Bacon. And for as turbulent as, I mean, to give you context, right, by the time we've taken off of this third quarter, in the first we already had 3 touchdowns. It's contrasting, to say the least. Now in the ace, they'll run straight up the middle with Zero, got away from a couple. He'll get a first down.
Yeah, and now we're seeing some success start to form from the rushing attack of Fort Worth. They're starting to get a little bit more room. You know, their linemen going up to the second level and meeting those linebackers before the linebackers can meet the running backs.
Drop back again by Price. He was pursued. Got away. Bacon! Oh, almost broke it from completely. What a game-saving touchdown-saving tackle there from Kai Cash. That was nearly disaster.
Again, Cash, who has had such a good game up to this point, had the interception previously in the game to start it. And that time, like you said, saving the tackle, there was nothing but green grass and other Fort Worth Toros to block for him.
There you go. We mentioned they had no first downs in their opening 6 drives. They've now had 10 in their last 2. And his ground game starting to fall into place. Price will throw end zone.
Oh.
Got it! Touchdown, Fort Worth leads. Henry McGee's got a brace.
And wow, what a beautiful throw from Eric Price, able to slip it in between the two defenders. Let's get a better look at this one. Henry McGee cuts inside, and it goes just past the defensive back, unable to get that one. I believe it was Blake Prine who tried to make a play on the ball, but it gets just past him. Henry McGee gets just over 100 yards with that catch and his second touchdown. Fort Worth, they're in control now.
This is just a game of the season candidate. I mean, I've got goosebumps. This is wild.
You know, it's so crazy how well they were able to adjust. It seems like this team has just flipped a switch. I don't know what it was. You know, they had 2 touchdowns were, you know, dare I say, flukes. You know, they had the kickoff return, which, you know, maybe fluke's the wrong word, but just, you know, they took advantage of looks that you might often won't see. They had the kick return, and they had the, you know, the bomb to Henry McGee, the 76-yard touchdown, and, you know, the drive right before the half just completely flipped something in their head, and they're playing at a whole nother level.
Handoff outside. Slap gets past 1. He gets 6. That was the play, right? They were down 24-7 prior to that kick return, and have now flipped the script entirely. They're now up 28-24. So you can do the math, but it's in effect 21 unanswered points to take the lead here on the road. What an unbelievable change of tune. DR Sim rocks his one-on-one matchup there against Aiden Davis and gets a first down.
You know, when you look at the history between these two teams, Jacob, 9 wins for Fort Worth out of 13 matchups. Houston has only been able to topple Fort Worth 4 times. However, this is the first playoff matchup we've seen between the two. And when you... Oh, what a catch!
Oh, mama! What a catch! In the middle by CJ Parrish.
Ooh. What a pass and catch. I mean, it seemed like CJ had no one around him. Maybe the pass was a little bit off the mark. I mean, let's see it from another angle. Let's see the defenders in the area. No one. There was a safety over the top, but CJ was able to pull it in one-handed on what was a little bit out in front of him, and a nice catch, you know, flips the field early.
Just like that, the Houston offense is back inside Fort Worth territory again. Another run. Slap on the outside. Gets past 1. Nash had to hang on, but Josh Slap's got an 11-yard run and another first down.
Yeah, back to that tough running we've been seeing, breaking tackles. It takes a safety from the completely other side of the field. Delaney Nash makes his way over to make a play after he gets the first down. Now, Houston, you just got to keep going like you have been, mixing the runs and passes. I mean, you know, when Lakeman isn't firing into double or triple coverage, it seems to work out every time, but throughout that third quarter, it just seemed like he was really only throwing to those tight spots, and it just wasn't working out at all.
Do not touch that dial. Do not go anywhere. What a fourth quarter we are in for. DJ Kilgannon in co-commentary. Justin Reside, Ron Haynes in the stats truck. They've been working their proverbial backside off for the last, hour and a bit. It's been a wild game here at Vibe Sports Stadium, and exactly what we wanted it to be here from a neutral perspective. Houston find themselves behind for the first time in the contest here with possession. Drop back by Lakeman. He was pressured. Got it outside. Intercepted Dexter Jackson. Up past halfway. Can the lineman get to him? Corky got him at the 30.
And Jacob, I just saw a comment in chat that said Dexter Jackson looked lost. What a play. He catches it off the tip. And, you know, it looked like a dead duck out there, but he snatches it up and he heads the other way. If you didn't have those offensive guys out there that are so quick, I'd say he's gone to the races. Wow, I mean, what a bounce back for Fort Worth. Finally, something goes for them on defense. They get that turnover in such a big spot. You start the fourth quarter, you have the ball back and the lead.
Houston had all the momentum in that opening half, and now the pressure is firmly against them. Oh man, he almost got through and then Chris Britton lit him up right in the middle of the field. There was Jet Zero.
I mean, just met a brick wall, it looked like. All momentum just got stopped in its tracks. A nice run, though, nonetheless, despite the monstrous hit.
7-yard gain, nonetheless. Bacon now in the fold. Hacker moves across the formation here. No change out of Houston defensively. They swarm him. Prine got him at the line of scrimmage.
You know, and I feel like if you're Fort Worth right now, you know, a lot throughout this game I've said don't try and run every single play. But right now, it seems like your running attack has got some momentum. Just make sure one of your linemen get to the second level to be able to shut down Jason Peace or Chris Britton, one of them, because they've been stopping your run all night.
Bacon, huge play! Dropped behind the line of scrimmage. Garrett Evans, what a play.
Yeah, Garrett Evans and Jason Peace, I mean, met him right at the line of scrimmage, and now they're going to go ahead and kick the 43-yard field goal.
Amelia Rose, right to left swinger, got it.
Dang.
But a crucial play. Garrett Evans hasn't had a tackle in the game yet. That's his first, and it's a tackle that keeps this game within a single score.
You know, and Amelia Rose has missed 3 field goals this season, longest being 48 yards. That one being 5 yards shy of her longest kick of this season, and able to nail it with ease, it seemed.
And that kickoff not going anywhere there. Corky shut down 20 yards away from the goal line, and Houston very much still hanging around here, but they have not scored since it was 24-7.
Yeah,
if you can believe that. It looked like they were going to put 50 up tonight.
it did.
And Fort Worth just made the necessary adjustments, and this game completely changed. Lakeman drops back, fires right St. Green. What a grab again.
Gorgeous catch, pulls it in one-handed as Adam Leach is spearing him in the side, and you know, you had the 2 safeties trying to shoot over the top, and John Lakeman putting it in his hands when he knows he can haul it in. You know, we talked about, you know, your lead receiver being able to make those plays in those spots.
Empty back set here, 5 wide. Piece on the left-hand side. Drop back by Lakeman. It's incomplete. Corky, the intended target. Broken up by Tavius Gordon.
Yeah, and you know, it seemed, you know, there's a few Toros on that side of the field, and you know, that's going to happen whenever you have 3 receivers on that side of the field. Fort Worth bring extra defensive backs over to that side to help out, and you throw a little hitch route towards that side, just not going to work out.
An motion St. Green across. Have abandoned the run on this position, Houston. Lakeman drops back again. Got good blocking up front. Got it in between. How did he find that gap? And it's caught by Josh Slapp for a first down.
Yeah, you throw it to your halfback who's only had 12 catches, his longest being 18, and you know, that looks to be right around that mark. And you know, they attack the middle of the field, get him involved in the pass game, and you know, Lakeman, who had such a monstrous start of the game, you know, has started to slow down. Maybe we can see him start to pick it back up.
Punch to the right, hand off to DR Sim, and he will get forward progress with 7. And Houston now driving downfield once again.
And after the great catch by Josh Slapp, DR Sim gets a run, and it shows how good both of those backs are. You know, interchangeable. You could see either of them on the field, and you could see a big play happen. I mean, Houston, you know, you have plenty of game left, but you got to try and get some points here.
Hand off on the outside. Slapp broke a tackle.
Oh.
Here goes Slapp. Gordon's got to hang on, and does so, but it's at the expense of a first down.
It is, and just more tough running from Slapp. You see the offensive linemen and receivers doing what they've done all night and blocking really well. Slapp breaks a tackle, gets to the edge, and you know, Delaney Nash again having to come from the other side of the field and help make that tackle.
They've combined for 130 yards with about 24 carries between them. Those two backs. Lakeman throws in heavy traffic and incomplete. That was a gamble. Aiden Davis could have ran away.
Yeah, and again, trying to get the big play on offense. It seems like John Lakeman is okay throwing it into harm's way as long as it has a chance to be a deep shot, you know that pushes the first down mark further away. And it's certainly seeing why that's a risk up to this point.
Corky in motion. They are going to keep to the air here. Great block on the edge. Lakeman to throw. It's incomplete. Hit from behind on Corky. Crucial. Greg couldn't hang on.
For a second there, Jacob, it looked like he had it and pulled it in, but Ben Stone speared him in the back and was able to force that ball out of his hands. Now it's 3rd and 10. You know, you still got plenty of game, but this one feels like a very, very, very crucial play in the outcome of this one.
Huge moment here. 3rd down and 10. Lakeman again has time. No, he doesn't. Dexter Jackson got him from behind.
Dexter Jackson, who had been, relatively invisible, in the first half of this one, then gets an interception previously in the quarter, and now a sack in one of the biggest moments in the game. It's now 4th and 16 for Houston, and we're going to see a punt. I don't know if I can
goal range,
agree.
DJ.
Yeah, out.
They were in field goal range, and
what a play.
Nah, they're not. Dexter Jackson had the interception.
Wow.
That stole really an extra 3 points for Fort Worth, and then gets a sack that takes another 3 away from Houston. And with 6 minutes left, the pressure is now on the Headhunters, who again had that huge start to start the game. And somehow, some way, Fort Worth find themselves in control of this matchup now. Short drop back from Price, throws outside. That's too heavy. Couldn't quite hit Henry McGee.
24. I mean, you look at the total of points for Houston, 24. I mean, that's how many points Fort Worth has scored straight to be able to come back and take the lead against Houston. Now, I mean, you have to get a stop here.
Price overthrows that one again. Cade Stevens that time the intended target. And the best case scenario here for Houston is that they've thrown it twice and stopped the clock twice. So
Yep.
if they get a stop here, it really is no harm, no foul. Save for the lost field position. Got to get off the field though. Bunch to the right-hand side. Stevens is on his own up the top. Roll out by Price. Throws in the middle. Caught by the Cowboy. And he's got enough past the 30.
I mean, you got to be more aware of him in the spot. I mean, he has the 2nd most receptions on the team up to this point in the game, and they've been feeding off of that post route in the middle of the field. They have 2 over the middle routes over every single time, it feels like, and they just make the linebacker choose. And that time, tried to stop the over the middle and fired it over the top. And I mean, it's just been their bread and butter, it seems, on 3rd downs.
It gets them away from trouble, and now with a fresh set of downs, they can get the ground game involved. Hand off up the middle to Jay-Z Bacon. He gets 5.
Okay. Now we're going to see maybe them try and start to run the clock out. And I don't hate them passing just to make sure they have the first down and push them a little bit further towards the 50. And now maybe, and it's certainly looking like it, they're going to try and run more to try and just choke the life out of Houston, and even if they do get the ball out, just not give them enough time.
Houston sends the house and gets the result. It's a loss of 2 for Jet 0. Dumped behind the line of scrimmage.
It was Jason Peace again who was able to get in there and make the play. I mean, like we said previously, Jacob, this linebacking core for Houston has just been unstoppable when it comes to stopping the run. Now let's see if they can stop it over the middle of the pass.
Another rollout by Price. Throws in the middle. Cowboy again. It's the exact same play they hit them with last time.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's just clockwork at this point. Same exact play. We're going to see the replay again. Oh, well, not a good enough angle to really see what it's depicting, but you see Steven Hacker under him doing the same route as him. And then you have Garrett Jr. over the top. I mean, just taking the lid off of the middle of the field. And you know, like I said, on third down, it's just their bread and butter.
4 minutes to go. Fort Worth have got them right where they want them. Toss play outside. Bacon breaks a tackle and swarmed by Kai Cash and company there to ensure that didn't go any further. Guy Incognito in run support there. It's only a 1 yard gain.
Yeah, you know, we've seen that a few times. Going to only gain him a yard, but what it's going to do is take plenty of time off the clock that Fort Worth doesn't want there. And that's all they can really ask for up to this point. If they can stay ahead of the sticks, this could be the last drive of the game.
Now 3.5 left. Houston running out of opportunities here to get their defense off the field. Handoff right up the middle. Plenty of room. Can't quite get there. They're going to call him 3 yards shy of the first down marker. That felt a bit on the harsher side.
It did.
Houston will take it.
I would imagine 3rd and 1, maybe inches, Jacob, but 3rd and 3, I mean, definitely room for the playbook to be completely open. I mean, and if I'm down on that sideline, I think I'm calling a run here. I don't know about you.
Houston probably wants a run with how their defense has played today. They've been better at stopping that. Single back off to the left. Alexander in front of Bacon. Hand off to Jay-Z. Got past one. Jason Peace couldn't get to him. And Jay-Z Bacon's got a first down. They can take it to the 2-minute warning.
You know, and where they are at the field right now, Jacob, it's just about field goal range, if not already. I mean, I said previously that this could be the last drive of the game. It's really starting to look like it now, and you see the stats flipped. I mean, if you look at that passing yard total at the end of the first half, it's a whole different ball game compared to now. And even the total yards and the first downs even, we were 0 towards the end of that first half.
You feel this is it here now. 2-minute warning. If Fort Worth get another first down, it might be over. Because Houston cannot allow another field goal here with the time that remains. If they get a stop here, it leaves the door ajar. Handoff up the middle. Peace trying to hang on. Had to succumb to the leg drive there. It's a 4-yard gain.
You know, like you said, Peace again getting involved, leads the entire game in tackles, hitting double digits. And leads in tackles for loss as well with 4. He has been a force in the run game. You just need it for a few more plays.
And off to the outside. Oh! Knocked behind the line of scrimmage. Huge play.
Who else?
Houston call the timeout. They've got their chance.
Jason Peace said no peace, all war on that hit. A monstrous hit in the backfield. I don't think it was quite the loss they need, but still a loss nonetheless. Now you need a stop here. You need something crazy to happen if you're Houston.
Watch the rollout here from Price.
Yep.
This time they run it. They are conservative.
Oh!
Bacon, he can't get there. Houston could call their final timeout.
Out of timeouts, certainly well in field goal range. You're going to put it into the hands of your kicker, Amelia Rose, who we talked about previously, has missed 3 on the season. This is easily in her wheelhouse of range. Bang.
Just one straight through the guts, and they've got 1:40. That is a huge drive for Fort Worth.
It is, yeah. I mean, that could have just won them the game, because now even if Houston does manage to go down all the way and score, they still have to get an onside kick. They still have to drive again and score, and that's even if they can do it the first time, because, you know, ever since the first half, Jacob, they haven't smelled the end zone.
The upside is there. It's time.
Yep.
They've got a minute 40. They've got to get a touchdown and a field goal. An onside kick in between. Look at that. They have really suffocated them in this second half, Fort Worth.
Really have.
13 plays or more in each of their drives on the last 3. And it's resulted in a 10-point lead. Lakeman to throw. Got it outside. Oh, somehow caught CJ Parrish. Unbelievable. Up to the 35. Couldn't get out of bounds. Houston can't stop the clock with a timeout anymore. Throw in the middle. Caught by Corky. He's at halfway. Ron Haynes and Justin Resider got to hang on for dear life now in the stats truck. A minute 20 remaining. Lakeman throws over the top. Got it. Somehow Davis couldn't get the pick. Parrish has another one. He's got 120. He's up at the 30.
Lake Show at full speed.
Drop back again. Oh. That one's overthrown and incomplete. Ben Stone nearly had the game winner.
Yeah, hit him right in the chest and then bounced off almost to the hands of another Fort Worth Toro. And I think, really, Jacob, that would have been their best look to drive downfield. Hopefully they can see something they see in the defense of Fort Worth to try and take advantage of for a few plays. But we have seen this matchup several times on offense and defense. And it really hasn't worked out for Houston.
Drop back by Lakeman. Oh, another risky throw. Davis nearly had that one.
Yeah, and I mean, it was low, it was in coverage, just not a great throw at all. And 3rd and 10, I mean, this is your season. You have to pull through when the lights are the brightest.
Again, they're in the trips formation. Lakeman to throw again. Got it. It's outside. It's incomplete.
You know, and I said it on that previous play, Jacob, the trips formation.
Yes, I was going to ask this question. Do you kick the field goal in this situation? I think you have to.
Yeah,
Sonny J's out there.
They're going to.
It's a 48-yarder, and it gives them a minute to recover an onside kick and then go at them again.
Not an easy kick either.
Jay, right to left.
And
he's got it. Houston's got a shot.
Life. Yeah. I mean, the heartbeat is not very faint. The pulse is slight, but it is there nonetheless, Jacob. We're going to need to see a miracle down in H-Town. We're going to need to see an onside kick.
Can they get the onside? It's fielded and caught.
Yeah.
Going back the other way. Fort Worth are going to run away with it.
That shall do it. And I mean, that's something you risk whenever you put those big guys out there on the onside kick. Sarah Bergens gets ran right past it. I mean, we've seen it a few times in this league where they're able to take that offensive side kick the other way, and we see it again, and that what a heartbreaker.
Amelia Rose to knock over the extra point. And Fort Worth have now got one hand on it. 50 seconds remaining.
Talk about a run, Jacob. I mean, you look back at that before that kick return, in my mind, the game was going to be really one-sided. The momentum shifted on a dime, a 34-3 run from Fort Worth. That's just sensational.
They were up 24-7, and that kick return is going to be talked about throughout the week.
Mm-hmm.
It changed the momentum. It didn't change it completely, but it just enough that it gave Fort Worth a sniff at it. And then they went on a run to make it 28-24, and they kept running. And they have all but have this one sealed up here. Houston are going to throw everything at it now. Drop back by Lakeman. Pressured, gone. Loss of 8. Luther Gond has double.
Hadn't had a sack the entire regular season, Jacob. Now 2 in the biggest game of the season.
That's crazy. He's usually a bit of a force in that department, but
Yeah.
no better time to save him for.
I mean, a 4-time All-Star, 6 seasons in Fort Worth. Like you said, he has 79 sacks on his career. Make it 81 after this game. Top 15 all-time.
Lakeman again through hands, batted away. They're trying to get Daisy a piece to that century mark as well, but no one falls away incomplete.
Yeah, and it's just such a heartbreaking loss. And I mean, you think about really any game you lose in the playoffs, it's gonna hurt, right? But you lose to a team in your division that you play so much, that already beat you previously. I mean, I can only imagine the fire that is going to bring to this coaching staff next season, and I cannot wait to see what they're able to do.
Lakeman throws, it's incomplete. Game, set, bingo. Fort Worth are advancing to the second week of the postseason.
I mean, in such convincing fashion. I imagine we're going to see that victory V come out, and we are. And what a turn of events in Houston. The fans stunned. Houston stunned by the Toros once again. Make it 10 victories out of 14 matchups for Fort Worth. The first time these teams have ever met in the playoffs, Jacob, and Fort Worth takes it.
They just have their number, don't they? I
They
mean,
do.
it's
They
been
do.
an incredible season from Houston. One of the best in their franchise history, it could be argued. And it ends in a harrowing fashion here at home in the wildcard round. Fort Worth are going to advance to the postseason for the third time in this 4K23 era with a 41-27 win. You see there, up on that top right-hand corner,
Oh my gosh.
they were 24-7 up, and that kick return from Cade Stevens was more important than we perhaps realised at the time, because it was the spur of a 28-24 lead that would ensue. DJ, unpack that game for me.
I mean, it was a tale of two halves. Fort Worth looked like, for lack of better terms, nobodies in the first half. And then that kick return, like you said, Jacob, they completely flipped a switch, and they put it to Houston come the second half. You had 20-3 in the second half alone, including the end of the second quarter where they had the kick return and the late touchdown. I mean, it was just a great game. Eric Price really showed up late in the second quarter and second half.
It ends an incredible season for Houston. Fort Worth get to play on another week. We'll see you in about 45 minutes' time for the final wildcard game between Carolina and Minnesota. Don't go anywhere. That'll be live right here on the Virtual Football Network.